All right, how many of you guys are going to go watch Top Gun this evening or this weekend? I'm just asking because we talked about it on the show again. Somehow it became part of the show. It is TexAgs Rewind. Comment below. We are brought to you by T-Mobile. They want you to visit T-Mobile.com/across America to learn how you can get more value and coverage through T-Mobile. So the show was really about Aggie baseball. We had a lot of Aggie baseball to talk about. The baseball bunch was in studio. We talked about national seed hopes and how A&M just dominated the game against Florida. That was fun. 10-run rule. I love that. Ryan Brauninger also called in from the Hoover Met out there as he was getting ready for A&M's game versus Alabama later on in the afternoon. We also had Mikie Mahtook on the show. He played at LSU, gave us some thoughts about LSU baseball, A&M baseball, and, of course, college football. That was good. And the Go Hour was about college football, A&M start times. We got those and what teams could have 2 losses on the year. It is TexAgs Rewind. So A&M opens up against Sam, and that is going to be an 11 a.m. kickoff on Saturday, September 3rd. And I'm going to kind of weave my way in the direction I want to go because I think the September schedule is more difficult than people think. Like, it's not super easy, guys. It's not. But they've got I'm not saying that they're going to lose to Sam by any stretch, but Sam has gone 21-1 the last 2 years. Not taking on SEC teams, but they're a quality FCS opponent.
They're going to make you work.
This is their last season as an FCS opponent.
They're going to make you work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like Casey Keeler. We had him on the show. He was excellent. But that's going to be on the SEC Network, 11 a.m. So that first game, we don't have to wait. We're right into it that Saturday morning.
Good.
Then we have
I don't want to wait.
Appalachian State.
Yes, sir.
Another game that they're going to make you work. It looks like they went 10-4 last year.
I was in Berkeley, California, watching that game in 2007 when they beat Michigan.
When they beat Michigan?
Yeah.
I was in studio in Houston at the Galleria area when that game happened. That game is at 2:30 kickoff, and that's going to be on ESPN2. Appalachian State's going to make you work as well, right?
Didn't they beat Tennessee just a year or two ago?
Was that a year or two ago?
I think so.
Yeah, they're legit.
They're good program.
And then what I call the drunk game. Aggies and Miami, 8 p.m. kickoff, September the 17th, ESPN televised 8 o'clock game.
Yeah, I look forward to that one. I think we talked about it just yesterday, the day before, that that could be a late game and highly televised because it's
2 marquee teams.
Yeah, but I was actually looking up some stuff on Miami yesterday. As far as what they did last year, and they were okay. Are we overselling Miami? Are we overhyping them? I know they got a quarterback that's supposed to be good.
They have a better coach.
Okay.
They have some momentum on the recruiting trail. That doesn't necessarily pay off immediately. They've changed the culture there, brought in a lot of old guys from the U. I mentioned Alonzo Highsmith yesterday. They brought in somebody else to help behind the scenes as well. I think they're a team that is going to be really good at the end of the year. I don't know how good they're going to be when they play on September 17th.
It's just that I've been hearing that Miami's going to be really good for the last 10 years.
They were pretty good that year with Mark Richt, that 1 year that I think they lost towards the end, but I think they went, 10-2 that year?
They kind of reminded me of another team that's not too far from here that's supposed to be good every year, and they might, in a decade, might have one good year.
About 90 miles away?
Yeah, about.
Yeah, that's where it is. So I bring those up, and by the way, I'll bring these up as well. The college football playoffs and some of the bowls were announced. Not that the times matter for those, but there was an interesting point. The Sugar Bowl is going to be moved to December 31st because of a conflict with NFL games. So, the Sugar Bowl is a potential landing spot if A&M doesn't make it to the college football playoffs. Hopefully they do. But if they are in that same position, 5, 6, 7, that's a place that they could end up there at the Sugar Bowl. So have they done enough to get a national seed? And I know your opinions and other people's opinions and the way the committee will work. Richard, you started off.
I've been the naysayer all year long, but I think the answer is yes. They've done enough.
Because yesterday you weren't sure,
Yesterday
right?
was pretty emphatic, and they're going to get at least 2 chances to win one more game. And if they win one more game, I think that all but ensures they're going to be a top 8 seed if they haven't done enough already. I think they're a top 8 seed, and if they aren't, then the committee's going to have some answering to do.
I want to know why A&M's not considered a top 4 seed. I mean, you've got some ACC teams that have to play each other down the stretch here. Miami's kind of fallen out of that top 4 spot. I think it's going to be real hard with Oregon with Oregon State and Stanford. They're probably going to meet in the Pac-12 finals, so I don't know how you would get away from that. Virginia Tech's got a win to advance to the semifinals of the ACC today against North Carolina. I don't know why A&M isn't looked at as not only being solidly in, but the 4-5. Because I know the SEC, I know the NCAA would much rather have either 4 or 5 and 8 be your national seeds out of the SEC, so I can put them all on one side of the bracket, eliminate that league from having an all SEC championship when I'm seeding the top 8. Now, we all know that Vandy or Arkansas or Auburn can make a run out of any part of any bracket. The way LSU's going right now, what they do against tonight against Tennessee is going to be huge for where they end up in the seeding mix.
Yeah.
So I look at it as how high can the Aggies go in the top 8, not that, hey, they're bumping up against the top 8 right now.
So right now, according to D1, there are 6, right?
Yes.
So you think with another victory, let's say at least one more victory, do they get the 5-4 potentially?
I think they're more likely to be 4, 5, or 8. I really think the NCAA is going to try to match up super regionals to eliminate regions of the country and then match the SEC all on one side of the bracket with your highest seeded teams. So even if LSU's an 8 seed and they're playing Auburn, who's a 9, then you've only got one team that can go out of the SEC from that part of the bracket. I see that more likely than happening than all the hand-wringing and all the battered Aggie syndrome that's going on, because quite frankly, SEC football gets the benefit of the doubt, Big Ten basketball gets the benefit of the doubt, and SEC baseball gets the benefit of the doubt because you are the big dog. I think that it's easy to look at some of those other things. I look at those conferences as the ones that dominate those particular sports.
Agree?
I do agree. I think A&M is going to be a top 8 national seed, and now I'm just mentally preparing myself for the College Station Regional to be matched up with an Austin Regional.
So how fun was yesterday for you?
It was interesting sitting in the press box. Again, like I said in my hit yesterday, I think A&M's a mystery, as weird as that is. It's like A&M's a mystery to a lot of the folks here covering the SEC tournament, especially the beat writers from other schools. And, I think it is because they, outside of Dylan Rock, they don't have a superstar. We've talked about the lineup, how it's the sum is greater than the individual parts, and that's what makes this team so much fun. And, they play so hard together, but it's not, a lineup full of big, dudes that look like what Tennessee rolls out there. And I think the A&M team yesterday put the rest of the conference on notice in terms of, we didn't know that A&M was like that. And obviously, to a certain extent, A&M fans didn't know that Micah Dallas was going to be like that. And that was the story of the game, because throughout the year we've seen the offense do that. We know what the offense is capable of. But as I'm sure y'all broken down all morning, that was an enormous sign for this team, what Micah Dallas was able to go out there and do yesterday.
Yeah, so let's go beyond just the stat line. When you watch, because you watch from a coach's perspective, a player's perspective, what did you really take away from Micah's performance?
Yeah, a lot of disjointed swings from Florida. From where I was sitting in the press box, it was kind of hard to differentiate what type of off-speed pitch it was. And I asked him in the post-game presser about the slider command, and obviously he had the slider working, but he said, and then when you go back and you watch the TV copy, it was obvious that he had the changeup working, and that's something that we haven't seen him do in a long, long time in an Aggie uniform. And, a 3-pitch mix all around the strike zone the entirety of the afternoon. And when you have talented hitters like Florida's got, and they're taking kind of disjointed and disconnected swings, the stuff's doing the right things on its way to the plate. And that they are he's throwing enough strikes with everything, and he's around the plate with everything that Florida can't start eliminating pitches. So just a fantastic job by Micah and Nate Yeske and Jim Schlossnagel. I loved the full count timeout when A&M was faced. It was a first and second situation with 2 outs. and Judd Fabian, Florida's home run leader at the plate. And Judd Fabian's the kid that strikes out a whole lot. And Micah was able to get it to a full count, and then Judd Fabian started fouling off pitches, and a lot of pitches. And you start going as a coach, okay, this is a guy that strikes out a bunch, and he's not striking out when he's swinging. And so Nate Yeske goes out there, and they talk, and they slow Judd Fabian down, because hitters can get in a rhythm just like pitchers can. So it was, again, the wisdom and the coaching acumen of this staff on full display again. And that's something that you really kind of got to dive into the game. If you're just watching the game and passing, you're going to miss stuff like that. But Yeske going out there, kind of breaking up the rhythm of the hitter, was huge. Micah gets out of the inning on a ground ball to third, and then A&M, gave another opportunity for A&M to open it up with that, that lethal offense that they've got.
About Brian Kelly, because I think he's an excellent coach, a great coach, and that goes other than when he dances on videos. But is he a cultural fit for LSU?
Here's what I have to say about cultural fit, right? Like, if you've been to Louisiana and if you come to Louisiana, it doesn't matter where you're from to fit in, right? Just the way we are down here, especially in South Louisiana, if you embrace the culture, you're a fit, right? Like, you don't have to be from here to be accepted down here. And we had a guy who was a cultural fit, right? Cultural fit. And yeah, he won a national championship, and, Coach O was great for what he was, but to run an organization the size and the I guess the type of organization that LSU is, you want somebody that has foresight, and you want somebody that can set the team up for the future, not just, hey, we're going to win now. We have the best quarterback in the history of college football, and we're going to win now. And then after that, okay, we won. I did what I needed to do. And I think Brian Kelly gives us that. We've had, I don't want to overstep, but we've had two cartoon characters, essentially, the last two head coaches, Les Miles and Coach Orgeron. And now we have a guy who brings some stability to the organization. He allows us to grow. He allows us to progress with how college football is going, with it, whether it be NIL and recruiting or whatever it is. And he sets us up for the next, 7 to 10 years, however long he's here. I don't know if he's going to be here all 10 years of his contract, but it finally puts us in the same level playing field as all these other teams that have coaches who are extremely cerebral and smart and understand what they're trying to do.
All right, Michael, we've gotten to know him a little bit, what we saw at practice and spring practice and the spring game, obviously. But what kind of quarterback is A&M getting in Max Johnson?
Man, he's a tough kid. He understands the quarterback position. Obviously, his dad's Brad Johnson. He's competitive. I mean, LSU put him in some situations that were really hard, especially his freshman year, and he excelled. I mean, I tell people to this all the time. People get upset. Oh, he did make some bad throws, or he was late on some balls, or he did this. I'm like, well, he had 26 plus touchdowns. He didn't throw that many interceptions. Yeah, he may not have been perfect, but you can't compare him to Joe Burrow. He won Florida. He won big games on the road, and he made some big plays when he needed to. And he was a young quarterback, and I think you'll have a great quarterback. I think he said he's a tough kid. I think he has guys that rally around him, and he's not afraid to just sit in there and make the big throws.
Do me a favor. Comment. I don't know why I use this voice, but just do me the favor anyway to just deal with it. Comment below, share, like, subscribe, tell your friends, and buy a TexAgs shirt on TexAgs.com, and then wear it out and about. And enjoy your amazing holiday weekend. We will see you all next week.